It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And I just want to say, I know this is a little off. I'm wearing a different color. I'm wearing a different color for a reason. We have a super special guest today. I honestly, the first moment that I spoke with him, I was just amazed by this guy. I have Zack for you guys. Hi, Zack.
Hi, Adam.
How are you?
I'm good. I love the color that you're rocking today. I had to wear a black shirt in honor of you because when you did my show, everyone was like, oh my God, he's not wearing a black shirt.
You know, when you said that to me on Instagram, when you messaged me that, I was sharing it with Jason, my fiance, and he was dying laughing because he's always trying to put me in color. But I feel like I just have this Steve Jobs outlook on it. Not like I'm comparing myself to Steve Jobs at all, but I don't ever focus on fashion.
I mean, but the color looks so good on you that I agree with your fiance. You need more color with like your complexion. It looks great.
Hey, I like that. And thank you so much for the compliment. And I love black on you. And it says adulting. I'm digging it. And it seems like we're both on the same page without meaning to be. So this sounds like it's already at a great start.
Yes.
All right. And Zack, while we're waiting for people to get in the room, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, show some love. If anyone's living under a rock, can you tell us where we can find you?
Yes. So I have two podcasts currently. One of them is called #Adulting, and that's like a lifestyle wellness show that I host with my friend Abigail Freyer. And then I have another show, which you were just on, called #NoFilter with Zack Peter, which is more pop culture reality TV based. We do pop culture breakdowns on Mondays and unfiltered interviews on Wednesdays. So we just had on like Monique Samuels from Potomac, who is spilling all the Bravo tea now that she's no longer under contract. So we bring on a lot of different reality stars and talk about everything that's happening in the world, like you, all the Girardi stuff, all the J-Lo stuff. We're breaking it down. So
I love
available
that.
everywhere.
I love when a Bravo celebrity leaves Bravo, or whether they're fired, they leave, whatever the case is. For Monique, she left, right? I love when they leave and then they're no longer under contract and they're like, you know what? Shit's coming out. It's like, okay, great.
It's time to get them. I don't like getting them when they're on a PR tour and every other podcast has them because they're promoting the new season and they can't talk about much. I like them at the end of the season or when they've been let go or they've left, because then that's when you get the real tea.
I agree. And I know that this is totally off topic, but I'm not sure if you saw this. There was a show that was, I used to work for Lisa Vanderpump for a long time. Jason and I both did. And there was a show in Australia. It was a podcast. And they were doing an interview with her talking about her new show, Overserved, on E! And they had the publicist on the line, but the publicist was causing lag on the podcast. And the guy actually got so pissed that he just ended the call and he said, pretty much, F that, I'm not doing this. This is annoying. And I don't know about you, but I've had so many times where I'm going through these interviews and it actually amazes people that there is usually 9 times out of 10, a PR person sitting on, listening, making sure that something is not said that either ruins the upcoming season, something about the franchise. They just don't want you to spill anything.
No, I have so many like horror stories about publicists when we were taping in studio, because obviously when everything got shut down in LA, I had to like move everything into my apartment. But when we were taping in studio, I would hate when they would bring publicists in. So I would always sit them behind me so that I couldn't actually see when they were like, no, don't ask that. And they would never interrupt the actual show. But I did see the Lisa Vanderpump article. And I feel for the host, because it's like when you have a publicist on the line and when they're doing the 3-way calling, like it makes things so much more complicated than they need to be.
Exactly. And I've never had an in-person moment, but I can't wait. We're going to have to reconvene one day. That will just stress me. I mean, that'll stress me out so bad. Okay. But with that, shall we jump right into Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Let's do it.
All right. I want to bring this up real quick. Joe George shirt looks good. Adam, I enjoy your show so much. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, smash that like button and we're about to jump right in. So for this episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey, I have to say, I know the season sort of just started, but it came in with a bang. It came in with Teresa spreading this rumor, or sharing this rumor. She said she didn't spread it. She heard it and she just told all of her friends and family. I don't know what else you would call that, about it. This storyline seems to be dragging out a little bit. Do you feel the same way?
A little bit. We're like halfway through the season and we're still talking about it.
I know I'm over it a little bit.
I am too. See, here's the thing that kind of drives me crazy is I feel like sometimes with the Housewives and with production, when things leak and it causes a big stir, we saw it with Puppygate. We're seeing it right now with Strippergate on Atlanta. And now coming into New Jersey, when these news little leaks happen about the season and then fans get so pumped up about it, obviously the Housewives are reading the headlines, obviously production's reading the headlines, and they're like, oh, there's interest here, let's keep pushing the season down this aisle because people seem to be interested in it. And then it eventually becomes overkill because they don't stop talking about it and it continues to get dragged on out. I mean, Teresa's a little annoying for me this season because and I know there are a lot of Teresa stans, trust me, they all come into my DMs, but like she's a little annoying in the sense like if you just owned it, we could like easily cover it for 3 episodes and like move on and not have to continue to beat this dead horse.
You know, and it's so interesting that you said that too about like just the hype of Strippergate and all of these. Well, this is how I want to put it. It seems like with these franchises, whether it's Orange County, Beverly Hills, Puppygate, Pantygate, Strippergate, we're always having some sort of gate, one universal storyline that is spread across this ensemble cast where they all have to sort of jump in on it, as opposed to them each really focusing on their own individual storylines. I think that is kind of the beauty of having an ensemble cast because you have to pick different people who have these different personalities and these fabulous lives. That's how I thought the Housewives started. But now I agree. It seems like we like to focus on one storyline the whole season.
And I get it because then you have seasons like last season. Like I hated the last season of New York because I thought it lacked like some sort of central storyline that pushed us forward. And I felt like the women were just at a plateau in their lives. Like there was nothing new going on with Luann, not so much going on with Sonia. Ramona's kind of, hit a wall. And so I feel like you need some sort of like storyline, but it needs to be something real or something that's like I think this new season of Beverly Hills might actually be exciting because we have the Girardi drama, whereas we loved the Giudice drama when we were watching that unfold on New Jersey. But like Pantygate was so stupid. Like I'm over, like I don't want to do Pantygate for 14 weeks. Like I don't care about Erica's panties that much. She can go pat her puss in the back room. I don't need to talk about it for that long. You know what I mean? Like let her film a little video for PK and he can enjoy it later. I don't need them to beat it for 14 weeks.
I like that. And it's funny because a lot of people, like you said, you get your Teresa stans who slide into your DMs, but a lot of people feel like Teresa didn't make this up. So they get it. She heard something and she repeated it. Now we're starting to find out that Margaret Josephs was originally the first person to hear about the Evan cheating rumor, and she's the one who shared it with Teresa, allegedly. Do you believe that at all, or do you feel like those are just headlines?
I feel like those are just headlines. I don't believe that Margaret... I mean, and even if they did hear, like, that also doesn't exonerate Teresa for going around his birthday party and like spreading it like, herpes in college. Like, I just feel like Teresa has zero accountability, and whether she heard it or whether she thought that she heard it, I just feel like she's always looking for a reason to jump on Jackie because she just doesn't like her. And I think Teresa in her own head probably thinks she did Jackie a favor by bringing up this rumor to give Jackie a storyline this season.
That is some effed up way of thinking, if that is true.
That's Teresa Giudice.
But hey, listen, she's been around for what? This is season 11, right? 11 seasons for a reason. Okay, guys, moving on again. If you haven't, go ahead, smash that like button. And I just want to, since we're on the Jackie train, I want to bring up something. So Jackie last year was, I thought Jennifer Aydin was going to rip her head off after she put out an article about, let's just say, spoiled children. Now, watching this episode and watching Jennifer talk to her sister, try to figure out the situation with her parents. They're trying to send their dad to Turkey to go meet his new grandson. I'm just watching her. I'm not a parent, so I can't sit there and, I guess, pick at anybody for their parenting skills. But it sort of seems the way that she's dealing with her children are like running around. They're not listening to her. They're not really helping her out with anything. It kind of seems like maybe you could potentially be raising spoiled children. Is that bad to say? Can I say that?
Her kids are spoiled, Adam. Just say that. Like I mean, whether you agree with that or not, I'm saying her kids are spoiled. And I mean, come on, she has so many nannies. She's not, I mean, I'm sure she's a great mother and loves and adores them, but she gives them the world and does everything for them, in addition to the staff that they have in the house that continues to give everything. And like, come on, Bill's a great plastic surgeon. He's bringing in that money that like, let them live their life the way they're going to live their life. But I mean, it's time to call a spade, and her kids are spoiled.
Which is actually kind of, I love seeing how this is part of the reason I'm just enamored by these franchises, because I love watching how these people live. And one of the funny things that I got from Jennifer Aiden in this scene was when her oldest son, Justin, turned on the water fountain or the waterfall on the pool when all the kids, the brothers and sisters, are sitting on it. I'm thinking in my head, if this were back in my day, like we would go behind the house and grab a hose and spray each other. Like it's just a totally different way of being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I like to watch it. Now, am I watching it to I guess completely watch spoiled children? No, but I guess that comes with the territory.
You're trying to relive your childhood through the Housewives kids.
That sounds so shitty, but that actually might be true. That might be true. All right. Well, I do want to kind of shift a little bit because there's another, in my opinion, fascinating storyline here that is sort of downplayed, but I guess there's a focus on it. We're just not excited about it because we have this Jackie Teresa drama. But Dolores is trying to navigate this relationship with David. And I have to say, I've met Dolores a few times. She's really good friends with Jason and I's friend Joey. She's a sweetheart, but she's such a strong woman. And I have so much respect for that. The fact that she drew a line in the sand and said, when this house is built, if you want me to move in with you, David, then you need to give me a ring because I'm a traditional woman. And then she didn't because he didn't. I was like, damn. Most women, not most women, most people, listen, I was asking for a ring too. So most people, when you're sort of asking for a ring and giving stipulations, sometimes you don't follow through with it. Some people are not strong enough to follow through with it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Was that ring an ultimatum and you needed a ring on it?
No, actually, we were about to listen. Long story short, Jason actually told me that Jason used to bring Catherine Zeta-Jones' daughter to dance when he lived in New York. So he was always with them. And he told me, because I love Catherine Zeta-Jones, when we went to LA, he's like, we're going out to dinner with her tonight. You're going to meet her. Be cool. He's like, you have to get dressed up. I thought, oh my gosh, this is the moment I get to meet her. She's bipolar. Sometimes I feel like I could be bipolar. This is going to be great. So I was really excited about it. We get into a car. The car comes to Van Nuys, I think it was Van Nuys Airport. And I was like, why is there a helicopter? And he said, well, because you can't drive up to their house. You have to take a helicopter to it. I was like, oh shit, this is some A-list shit. You have to take a helicopter to the house. And then long story short, we landed on a hill in Malibu and we got engaged. But I wasn't expecting it. No, I didn't necessarily give him any ultimatums, but he was starting to give me some. So if you're listening, Jason, I see you. That's all.
Love that. I need somebody to take me in a helicopter and propose to me somewhere. But I feel like with Dolores, you're right. She is a really strong woman and like her presence. So the first time I met Dolores was while they were filming her first season because I knew the Loritas. So I had done a few events with them in New Jersey. So I flew in for a charity event that they were doing. And she invited, not Teresa, she invited Siggy and Dolores. And I just remember the second the two of them, because you had heard that there were two new housewives coming in. And so I was like trying to scout out, I didn't know names or see any photos then, but I was trying to scout out which ones had the presence when they walked into a room to be able to hold a housewife title. And right when Dolores walked into the room, I was like, oh, she's definitely one of them. She just has this confidence that she exudes and she demands a presence when she walks into a room. And like, you have to give her props because she is what we all like the Instagram memes about, I'm a strong, independent, this and that. And I don't need to wait for no man and, whatever. We all like to like the Instagram memes, but we don't always project that in our real lives. And Dolores is actually living that mantra out. Now, I think she needs to let go of David. I think, the sex may be great, but like keep him as like a friend with benefits. Like, bang him on the weekends and then let Frank be your husband Monday through Friday. And then you can just have like this, well, it's not sister wives, but you can do, what is it? Brother husbands, brother hubbies. I don't know.
Brother
Your bro hoes.
So you're saying if you had to choose, you would choose Frank over David any day.
I would choose David's bank account, but I would not mind hitting Frank every night in bed.
Oh my gosh. You really are sort of unfiltered. I like this. Yeah, well, I mean, again, people are commenting on the fact that he built her this custom house. He even talks about it on the episode, and he has every excuse in the book for why he hasn't proposed. Now, I actually do feel really bad for her, but I'm sort of starting to lean towards your side and the side of like Teresa and the rest of the women who are like, listen, if David doesn't put a ring on it soon, you need to start looking for a new man. I'm kind of like, Dolores,
it's
while
time.
she's still a young woman and she's very beautiful and she can get probably whoever she wants, like time's ticking, and before you know it, you're with somebody for 3, 4, 5 years and you've lost those years. So
yeah, and she's gorgeous. She looks great right now. You see her Instagram, her hair looks great, her makeup looks great, her body looks hot. Like she is just a full package that she doesn't need to be waiting around on some man. And I get it, she's giving him the ultimatums, but it's also like at some point you need to put a deadline on it and be like, and pull the plug. I feel like she's giving him, one too many passes at this point.
And speaking of that too, I always love watching like the evolution of a housewife when we see them from like the very beginning. For example, like Karen Huger. She even mentions, she's like, I had some of the worst wigs at the very beginning and now I got it down. Yeah. Teresa Giudice, at the very beginning, she looks so different. Well, looks so different than she does now. But it's interesting seeing how they evolve in their glam and their style. And Dolores, again, everyone already knows this. She's just stunning. So I love watching the evolution of a good housewife.
I do too. Dolores looks great. And the thing is, Dolores didn't even change very much. Like Teresa changed drastically. Where some of them you really see like a strong change in the evolution of how they look and just their personality. But with Dolores, I feel like she's been fairly consistent and she's just had little subtle upgrades that like really bring out her natural beauty.
Question. If you had to look at this group of women, who would you say changed the most?
Melissa and her 4 nose jobs. I don't know. This is I would probably say physically, I would say probably either Teresa, Melissa, or Margaret, but I'm going to give it to Teresa.
Okay. And Margaret, with that, I think it was a facelift or whatever she had. She's looking great too. She has new teeth.
She looks great.
Yeah, she looks great. So not dogging her. Thank you so much for the super chat, Natalie P. I appreciate you. And moving forward, I want to talk about this meetup between Joe, Melissa, and Melissa's sisters and Teresa, I guess technically, for Joe's birthday. Can you hear this work going on above me?
No.
Oh my gosh, thank God. Thank you for this mic. This sit down to me, I guess, was interesting because we never really hear them talk about their kids potentially one day being intimate with other people, or their daughter's now 15 and they're having the birds and the bees conversation. If I were a dad, which again, I'm not, I feel like I would be a total Joe Gorga. Like you end up hooking up with somebody before you're 18, you're dead. I know that sounds crazy because I was just 18, like less than 10 years ago. And my feet were in those shoes, but no, I don't care. If I were a parent, I would be a total Joe Gorga. And it's so crazy to watch. And I know we've done this before with Vicki Gunvalson's daughter and many other housewives, Ramona Singer's daughter, Avery. It's just crazy to watch them grow up and know that now Antonia's 15, probably now 16.
Are you planning on having kids?
I don't think no, I think I would be like I don't want to say I'm too selfish to have kids because I'm not. I just think I would be such a bad dad. And everyone always is like, no, you'd be a great dad. And I'm like, you don't know shit.
I want babies. I don't want lots of babies, but I want babies and I will do it single if I have to. I'll do a full Andy Cohen. Yeah, I would totally do it. But I understand like where Joe is coming from, but at the same time, it's also like you're naive if you don't think kids that in her class are talking about sex or doing blowies in the bathroom or watching porn. Like, I mean, there's the whole TikTok trend with the song and the Pornhub, which I actually had to like, I've never really been on Pornhub, so I had to like investigate it myself just to figure out what the trend was. And then I got it. But it's like, you're naive if you don't think that these kids are exposed to sex. So you should be proactive, because I mean, look, it's better to have the conversation and make sure they have all of the resources that they need to at least be safe versus, letting her end up on MTV 16 and Pregnant. Like, we don't want that.
Hey, I have a friend on 16 and Pregnant. She's doing just fine.
Nothing against them. It's in the South and the Midwest. They're used to having 16 and Pregnant. And look, and not to knock it, because my mom was 17 and pregnant when she had me. So I was the oopsie whoopsie behind the bleachers in high school. So I'm not to knock it. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for high school sex.
See,
but,
I was called Little Chevy growing up, and I always asked why. And finally, my dad told me when I got old enough, he's like, well, son, because you were conceived in the back of my little red Chevy. And I was like, oh my God, that is so f***ed up that you would even don't lie. Just lie to me. Tell me my favorite car when I was a boy playing was a Chevrolet, like little race car. He's like, you didn't even play with cars. You played with Barbies. I'm like, okay,
listen,
I can't
Adam,
have this conversation.
People have sex. And they have babies. It's natural. I don't want Antonia to start having sex too early, but I understand where they're coming from. But at least now you have a great start. Now you know how you were conceived.
No, I still wish I didn't know that.
we will never have great conception stories if we have kids in the future. Like, we can't say like, oh, you came from the back of a Chevy.
We're like, nope, this syringe right here.
This turkey baster.
Yeah, this turkey baster. But speaking of having sex, there's one housewife that obviously is wanting it so bad. She seems like she's about to burst. Teresa Giudice, especially in this episode we're watching. And this is not news to me, hearing about pineapple or, well, technically peaches. That's new to me. But pineapple juice makes you taste better. If anybody is a fan of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they had a whole episode where Kourtney, Khloe, Kim, they were all sitting there trying to drink as much pineapple juice as they can to see whose thing tastes the best. I don't want to get vulgar, but you know what I mean? Have you ever tried that with Jason? No, I didn't. Does it work for guys too?
I mean, I heard that it works with, like, your stuff that I'm trying to not get vulgar, but like,
who found this out? Is this scientifically proven?
I don't know. We have to go on Cosmopolitan and see what they have to say about it. I'm sure it's a thing because I've heard of it.
Okay.
What it is I think it's the enzymes in the fruit, like, react in your body, and then it, like, you put out, because like everything you like excrete from your body is technically coming from inside, and it's a reflection of what you eat and drink. That's why, like, the next morning, if you're hungover, like, your pores smell like tequila or vodka or whatever, because it's like coming out of you. So it has to do with, I think, the enzymes in the pineapple. So if anybody's at home and they want to have a hot date night this weekend, go get some pineapples.
That was such an educated answer. I don't even have a rebuttal. I have nothing.
Full of tips. Your rebuttal this weekend will be eating some pineapple and then letting your listeners next week know how it tasted.
I never.
For your OnlyFans.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, moving forward, Teresa is pressured. Now, again, we have to circle back to the storyline that is playing out for far too long, but Teresa is pressured to invite Jackie. Now, she agrees to do it. Melissa was right by getting her brother involved and having her brother just tell Teresa straight up, you need to make this right. We need to do something about this. Teresa listened, which, okay. But after she invited Jackie, Jackie's like, hell to the no, am I going to your pool party? And I'm definitely not bringing my husband with me. So she extended the olive branch. Now, Margaret Josephs at said pool party did point out, listen, that's not a very personal setting to invite somebody into after you just had this whole knockout drag out. Maybe something a little bit more personal, maybe a conversation before you invite her over to your house with all your friends and family. Maybe that would be better. But Teresa's like, no, that I invited her. She's probably at home with her cheating husband. I'm never going to invite her again. I don't care. I did it. Now, do you think that this was a proper olive branch that was extended?
No, I think if anything, maybe if timing was an issue, maybe like meet that morning for coffee, invite her over to have a drink before the party, something that'll provide some sort of icebreaker where we can talk and then hopefully be able to have some mending so that when we're all together at this pool party, it'll be a little less awkward. But Teresa just doesn't think like Teresa needs. We forget, like, look at how long it took Teresa to admit that she was spreading the rumor that Melissa was a stripper. We had like 3 seasons before Teresa was finally like, I'm sorry, I happened to go to lunch with Kim D when she said it. And it was like, that's the most you're ever going to get out of her.
Yeah, so, you're never going to get a straightforward, I did it, I was wrong. She won't give that to you. She does. She dances in circles. But one conversation that Teresa had in this episode, I was extremely shocked about, and I'm glad that they shared this with us, was the fact that she didn't have to give Joe Giudice any money. Now, when they did the, I guess, flashback to the last reunion, when they were talking about, do you or does anybody here think that Teresa is going to have to pay out to Joe? Dolores thought that she would. Joe Gorga thought that she would. Pretty much everyone thought he was going to take her to the bank. But he didn't. Were you shocked by that?
I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if he did, but I'm glad that he didn't. And I think he knew, like, she's taking care of me enough. I need to go and sell some vibrators in Italy. Like, he needed to get it together because, like, it just wasn't, he couldn't have been the man that sent her to prison while her parents passed away. And also, while she held down the fort and was the breadwinner, even from prison, she was still the breadwinner, signing her book deal and signing another contract for Real Housewives, that, like, there was no way. I'm glad he didn't, because he would have really looked bad. And now people are going to line up to buy his vibrators in Italy because they're like, oh, he's a great guy. He cares about women.
Is that how you really feel?
I feel like he's, yes.
Okay. I like that. No, honestly, I was shocked. I was happy too. She's at home. She's manning the fort. She's the one with the daughters there. And I don't know if she gets child support. I don't even know if she needs it. Who cares? That's not the point.
I don't think she gets any money from him.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that she would. But I'm just happy at this point that she was able to come out of jail, work her wealth back up, and then not have it taken away again, because there's only so many times people can just keep getting knocked down. And like you said, she went to jail because of him, even though she spent all of that money too. She loved spending the cash and whatever. I don't necessarily think she knew what she was signing, because it is Teresa. Yeah. And like you said, her mom passing away, it was just a lot. It would have made him look like more of an asshole, just to be fair. People are getting so frustrated with me, by the way. Ever since I did your podcast and you gave me the opportunity to say a bad word, I always keep it clean on here. And people are like, Adam, you're always so positive and you never say any bad words. And in my real everyday life, you know, like, I'm still very positive, but you know, sometimes I have a sharp tongue. And coming on here after going on your podcast, I felt like it was liberating. Sometimes I just need to say it, you know?
Now you're living #no filter.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. Good segue. All right. But going back, of course, I want to circle back to the pool party in a second, but I do want to talk about one thing real quick, and it was Margaret Josephs. So Margaret Josephs is she has a book deal, and I love the fact that she was so open with us about having her ghostwriter sit down and talk with her. I feel like a lot of celebrities, Bravo-lebrities, whatever you want to call them, public figures, when they put out books, they're like, I wrote that myself. 9 times out of 10, you didn't. You had a ghostwriter. And I think it's awesome that she's being open about that. But
let's be honest, Teresa can't even write a tweet.
Okay. Shady palm tree over here. I'm reading the comments. Do you think anyone's going to want to read Margaret's book?
Here's the hard thing with like reality TV talent when they release books, is the book has to be somehow connected to the show, or else people don't care. You know, and that's why you see so many housewives try to launch businesses or launch products that just doesn't connect with the audience, because their connection is through seeing you on their television screen and through the storylines that we get every season. So if there's no connection to that, then like Lisa Vanderpump is successful at it because her restaurants are featured on the show. And so people want to go to the restaurants to run into her or to run into the staff that they see on TV. Whereas with Margaret, her book is about business. And so I get it. She has a lot of exposure, but I'm I'm not sure the book is going to be as successful as I think she would want it to be. I would personally buy the book because I think she's a phenomenal businesswoman and I like Margaret. But I think the book and the topic of business and like failures in business are a little too isolated from Housewives that it may be a bit of a tougher sell. But I mean, it's something I would buy and read over, like Teresa did a great job because she wrote about her experience in prison, which is the journey that we saw on the show. And that's why her book did so well, because people wanted to see that. Or even her cookbook. She was always cooking. We watched her go through the journey of putting together the cookbook on the show and cooking with her mom and doing the photo shoots. There needs to be a connection. And I don't think there's as much of a connection with Margaret's book.
I think that's a great point. I just know reading the comments and sitting here, and Jason likes to commentate on the show when we're watching it. And he's like, who the hell is going to read that? And I'm like, oh, there are people who will read it, but that makes so much sense. If it's not really associated with what we're watching on TV, then it might.
You have to really like her in order to want to buy it. And I don't know if people like her enough to want to learn about her adventures in business.
Oof. Okay. Well, with that, I want to circle back to the pool party real quick. Okay. So again, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. We can't, as much as we'd love to keep Zack all day, Zack is a busy guy too. So we're going to go ahead and start hitting the last few topics and wrapping this up. But before we go, it's only right that we address two things. One, Jennifer Aydin's sloppiness. I don't even think I've ever been, I've been shit-faced before. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think my worst night in West Hollywood wasn't as bad as Jennifer Aydin at the pool party.
That you remember.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, that's fair. And she was even asked on Watch What Happens Live, what do you remember? And she's like, fragments.
Fragments, yeah.
Okay. And then also this Michelle, I think her last name is Paez? Paez?
Yeah.
Paez? Okay. So Michelle, it's not a rumor. Michelle told Jennifer Aydin about how her husband is owed tens of thousands of dollars by Joe Gorga. Now, Joe Gorga is ready to have this tough conversation where for him, it's not tough at all. He's going to call out her husband. And Teresa's put the stipulation on Michelle being able to sell her house, kind of contingent on her making up with her brother, right? Well,
yeah.
This conversation really didn't make me believe that Joe was in the right. I mean, when Joe was talking to the guy, he's like, you did this to ride my coattails and there was nothing in writing. Next time, get something in writing. It's like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's been public knowledge that he's even said before that he will do a deal on a handshake. Why is this any different? Is it because there's a lot of money involved and now you're like, nope, you know what? It's growing Gorga. That's all in my pot. I'm not sharing shit with you. I don't necessarily understand after watching this. I don't feel like he cleared his name.
Joe Gorga?
Yeah, do you?
No, I think, he definitely tries to be like that. I'm an old school Italian. I'll do it on a handshake, But, okay, here's the thing for me. You always have to have a contract and the writing needs to be super concrete and clear. I read every contract that comes across. I renegotiate. I read every single clause so that every detail is clear. Now, when it comes to, Joe Gorga, I'm sure gives off that energy. And when he talks to people, he makes a lot of promises and over promises and under delivers. I think this other guy probably does do events all the time and charges. A standard fee is probably like 10 or 20 grand to do an event like that. Whether he was opening it or a keynote or a hype man, I don't know. So I don't know exactly what he would charge for something like that. But I would imagine it's probably like 20 grand. But when you have a paycheck that's that big, you need to have a contract and you need to have a signature and all of the deliverables need to be clearly outlined, especially when you're dealing with a reality star and the reality show. I think this guy probably was expecting to get a lot of exposure, realized events like this aren't something that people are that interested in. So they're maybe like 30% interested in Joe with the event overall, let alone going to be interested in him at all. He was probably expecting to get a shit ton of Instagram followers and didn't get, as so little as a DM. But I feel like he wanted more exposure. So the only way he knew how to do that was to have him and his wife really kind of bring up this drama on the show. That way he could get the exposure that he didn't get from the event.
No, that makes sense. Unfortunately, like you said, you need a contract. It sucks. It's a shitty feeling. Nobody wants to feel like they've been duped, right? Like,
and this is no 22-year-old, kid from Ohio that's coming to the big city for the first time. Like, homeboy's been around the block. Like, he's a good 45. That, like, he's been around the block. He knows how contracts work. He doesn't need to be playing this. Oh, Joe Gorga, you said you were going to pay me and you never paid me. Like, no, you're thirsty. What?
You blame him. You're like, you should have known better.
I think he's creating more out of this. I don't think he really cares for the paycheck. I think he cares about the exposure.
And I think that he's also trying to get his wife on the show as a housewife.
That's what it is. They want the fame. They don't care about the paycheck. They only brought it up so that it could become a storyline on the show so that they can get more camera time.
And that makes so much sense, especially the way that Teresa was such, I don't want to call her a snake, but she was slithering around this storyline, and she's like, what? She's a great realtor, though. She's a great realtor. And Melissa's like, she's talking about your brother. Well, I didn't hear anything. It's like, yes, you did. You know exactly what's going on. When you pulled her out to the pool or by the pool to talk to her and let her know that she has to make things right, she knew that she was going to have that conversation with you. This sort of felt a little bit pre-produced, but it's okay. Teresa, do your thing. We'll keep watching. Teresa. All right. Well, it's about to be the weekend, Friday, so I'm going to get my Jennifer Aiden on. I know today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, but I'm looking forward to it. And I like to be able to use her as someone that, it's like, okay, Saturday, if Jason says Saturday, how much do you really want to party? From Dolores to Jennifer. I'm going to be like, shit, no, I'm a Jennifer tonight. I like that. I like being able to say that. But with that, Zack, I really appreciate you jumping on with me. This was awesome. As always, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy, one, that you invited me on your podcast, because now I feel like I met a new friend. I have such great conversations with you, even though this is only the second one, even the DMs. Like, I just really enjoy speaking with you, and I love how knowledgeable you are. So again,
you love all the nudes I send in the DMs?
Yeah. Yes. Jason's going to love that.
I don't actually send nudes, you guys. Well, I have, but not to Adam because he's in a relationship.
That's fair. And I have before too, but not to Zack because I'm in a relationship.
There you go. Even though in LA relationships are,
oh my God,
they're as open as Brandy Glanville on a good night.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you're living under a rock, it's not a bad thing, but we just want to let you know where you can find Zack. Zack?
Yes, you can find me at Just Plain Zack all over the internet. That's my handle everywhere. YouTube.com/JustPlainZack.
And there's really nothing plain about you, so that's interesting, but carry on.
It's a paradox. It's an oxymoron. But yeah, Just Plain Zack all over the internet. # no filter with Zack Peter is my podcast. So go subscribe and listen to that. Adam was on this week and he spilled a lot of good tea. So go tune in.
All right, guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm dropping more videos today. And when I get off here, I'm going to go Google define paradox. So with that being said, see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye.